Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to have a look at Harley Reid in his debut game, last season's #1 pick. Of course, a lot of controversy about him heading over to West Coast. West Coast being a team that's probably got a long way to go to get back into the competition's elite teams. And this guy is going to be one of the players that really leads them in that direction. So, pretty solid first game overall from Harley Reid. Without setting the world on fire, definitely was one of West Coast's best players. Port Adelaide dominated most of the game, but you feel like what will probably often be a long season for West Coast is probably going to be one where Reid's going to be a pretty important player, which will be interesting to see how he handles that. It's pretty different to someone like, say, Nick Dacos, who came in a couple of years ago and went straight on to really a winning team and was able to fit in really seamlessly there. Probably going to be different for Reid, where he's come into a team that looks like it's going to lose a lot of games this year. So it might be one of their best players most of the season, and might even be in calculations for being up there in their best and fairest. And a lot of the pressure and a lot of the team performance will be based on how he plays. So it'll be interesting to see how he's able to handle it. I'm just going to have a look at a couple of clips here from his first game. So to start with, Reid's just here. So this is a defensive 50 stoppage. 2 minutes into the game, you'll see here Dixon is their ruckman, and then over here is Zach Butters, who's one of the most dangerous midfielders in the competition. So it appears that they have a bit of a set play here, Port Adelaide, to try and hit the ball to the outside to Butters. And what I really like here is Reid's physicality with Butters. So he kind of follows him through the stoppage, again making body contact, and you'll see Dixon's hit. He tries to palm it pretty hard into this direction, and Reid makes a really good play here where he's kind of pushing Butters that way, away from the ball, and then he's able to actually leap up and intercept and shark that hit out. Really good decision making here. Marshall, as a defensive forward, is kind of coming up to press. And he's pressing off a player that will come into screen in this direction in a moment. And ends up leaving him free. And Reid makes a really good quick decision to get that handball away. Okay, so this was his first touch. This is in the first minute of the game. You'll see Reid just in there. Again, defensive 50 stoppage. Again, like that, he's pretty physical with his opponent. He's in a defensive mindset here. Does let his opponent get goal side a little bit, but the ball ends up falling to him. Now I want you to watch this Reid again here. So Marshall will actually press to this guy, who was Reid's initial first option. But I really like the reaction of Harley Reid here, seeing that Marshall is keen to go and cover that. As you can see, Marshall's moving. Reid decides not to give that ball. And where Marshall comes off is this player. And Reid ends up handballing to this option instead. So as you can see, Marshall's then pushed in there really close to that, leaving this play off the back of the stoppage pretty clear. Handball isn't all that well executed, which, over time he'll just keep cleaning up. He ends up getting the ball back here, and under pressure in D50 stoppage. First game, first minute of his first AFL game, can very much be excused for making this read, and he ends up kicking to here, which ends up being a Port Adelaide spare defender. If he did have a little bit more composure, which again, tough in your first game, that's a pretty easy handball just into here. And as you can see, that next Port Adelaide defender is all the way up here. So a handball forward here, and this guy's probably working up to here and then kicking long, which allows this group of forwards over here to set up better. because at the moment Port Adelaide have a spare defender there, and then a one-on-one here. And you see the kick ends up going in that direction, and the Port Adelaide players are first onto it. Next clip here, you'll see Harley Reid doing this a little bit throughout the season, I think, and that's playing more as a midfielder and then resting forward. So this is him just here. Sorry. Here. You'll see this Port Adelaide player actually go back with the flight here and make this a 2-on-1 in the air, trying to mark the ball. But the ball actually spills, and I want to have a look at Reid's pattern to firstly get front and square and then make a really good decision with ball in hand. So Port Adelaide players kind of spoil each other in the end. And then Reid's really good here. Picks the ball up. And then very similar to those other clips where the Port Adelaide player is going to press towards him, leaving, who in this occasion is Cripps, to get out the back here and become that spare player. So you can tell already he's really good at reading that defender who's pressing at him, and always leaves a player in the clear, and that handball is really good and really clever, and they end up getting a goal out of it. Alright, so this is a bit of a room for improvement clip in my opinion. So this is Harley Reid just here. You'll see Darcy Byrne-Jones, the Port Adelaide defender. He will actually press up to this ball carrier. Now what Harley Reid can what he can do here is make it a little bit easier on his teammate. Here, so basically there's a pretty straight line between the ball carrier and Reid here, which means that he has to handball over hands. If I'm Harley Reid in this situation, I'm going to try and work into more of this space so that the defender isn't able to get between him here and the ball carrier here. Again, forcing the ball over hands. If he does work into that direction, the handball then is able to be a bit flatter, straight to there, and then West Coast are then able to kind of then wrap the ball around and get out in this direction. The handball becomes easier, and then Reid will also have a bit more space then away from this opponent here, this Port Adelaide player. In the end, he does pretty well. The handball's average just because, like I said, it was a hard handball to make. Reid kind of paddles the ball to himself and then is able to pick it up. His hands are pretty quick here, and then this is probably the part that is really good. I think that might be Farrell pressing at him. Reid just runs straight through him and knocks him over, which the physicality is pretty rare for an 18-year-old. The last clip I'm going to show is just a front and square, and then really a lot of things that I've been talking about through this video already is Harley Reid's ability to read the defender's intent to either press or stay with a man or try and intercept. And you'll see on this occasion, rather than giving that handball, he actually decides to not give it, which opens up even more space for a better option. So he'll come in, get the ball off hands here, and then kind of work out in this direction. So Ollie Wines is that pressing defender, and you can see there's a West Coast player out here. I'd say if Wines, the defender, is more kind of in this area, Reid is going to probably just give that handball straight away. But what Wines is doing there is getting kind of in what would be basketball terms in the passing lane, so between the player with the ball and his intended pass target. So what Reid does here is actually fake that handball and then quickly kind of change direction, and you can see the hole open up here. Butters and another player kind of sitting back in this direction. Wines has kind of come out here to try and intercept that handball. So Reid's just taking the lane and just cutting in through here and getting himself out and forward. And he's turned what was kind of a 50-50 ball into a attack forward for West Coast. So yeah, overall a really good game from Harley Reid. You can see a couple of things that he might be able to clean up, and that's going to come with time in the AFL system, but physically he's just looks extremely ready for an 18-year-old kid. He's very physical, he's strong, and he's got a really good nous for changing direction and being composed with that ball. So I think he'll continue to develop all that and hopefully become a really important player for West Coast both this season and then into the future, being hopefully one of the stars of the competition. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you again next time.